Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How are we making out? Mac should
You-
be a happy camper with Quartararo signing for Yamaha. I felt good for him too, not for another reason. Mine was for, um, keep the. He's the last bastion to keep the inline four going on this track.
yeah, look,
They need him.
I think they need him, right? And
Yes.
there's a lot of fuss being made about this. I don't think it's a lot of fuss. I think they made him an offer he could not refuse, right? As a go back an old gangster way of it,
Yeah.
right?
Did you see the money
Um,
amount?
huh?
Did you see the money amount?
That is complete horseshit. Don't even fucking go there now about the money, right? Because for years I've been hearing that he is on 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 4 million, 3 million, 5 million. That's bollocks, right? That's come out of a place like they've given him 12 million. They've upped his salary, no doubt, big, right? But I think they're turning around and saying, oh, Aprilia only offered him 4 million, right? They leave out the fucking part that they offered him 4 million base and then you have your performance bonuses.
Right.
Joe, what I mean? Like, for example, some riders there could be on 500,000, 600,000 to win, right? You have 42 races in the race season, right?
Yeah. Oh, that was like Vinales when they said Vinales had a $10 million. Remember when they
Yeah.
said they gave him $10 million? They gave him
So,
cold day in hell before he gets $10 million out of from
but
Vinales. It was like,
but I suppose, look, I just want to be putting out there, right? It's complete horseshit what everyone says about the value of people's contracts. Unless you fucking seen those contracts, you don't know the value. We don't, because realistically, we know the way we know that these things work is
mm-hmm.
that you would have a lower base and then you would
Yeah,
have a performance bonus.
right.
If right, also it is a long bit away from Rossi and Marquez getting their 25s and 30 millions a year
Oh yeah.
salary, and it really irks me when I see people saying, "Oh, he got 12 million," and he bought it out for money. Maybe he did. You know what I mean? Maybe he did, and that would be my concern. Is that if he just said, "Okay, there's dollar signs here. I'm going to ride around, maybe not win the world championship, but I'm going to collect a lot of money." He's too young in his career to be doing that. If you get me, so
Normally, yes, but they like I said, I seen him. He was on a thing about people who got stuck pissing too much money away, and he was on there. He did spend a lot of money, made some
he did look. He has a
not
good
good
lifestyle.
situations, and that's what my bailiwick is money. So
Yeah, but look,
it was something a kid would do.
it would be like, but look, at the end of the day, he's a near enough household name. Do you know what I mean? He can generate revenue
Yeah, but I'm
without
saying
a
he
problem.
spent so much so fast. He might need a quick injection of cash.
Yeah, but he's not gonna like he's not getting 12 million today. Do you know what I mean? He's getting fucking
Yeah,
paid.
but
He,
you know what I'm
he,
saying. They make it as a promissory note, and there's
yeah,
you
yeah.
know it's
Look,
there, and it's already signed off to them. They're happy. Can't
I'd put it this way to you, right? I can guarantee you he'd probably make more off doing a fucking Lenore hair product ad than he will off fucking Yamaha MotoGP.
Well, I hope so because he's in. From
But
what
look,
he needs
he'll have a team around him that he'll be doing fucking sponsorship in France and all of this shit, and that's not a problem. He hasn't been caught fucking someone's wife or something that's going to hurt his PR. Do you know what I mean? So
right,
he's
right.
still
I
PR
forbid.
friendly.
Yeah,
So look, yes, money is a factor, and he said it. Money is a factor, but I think there's also, I don't know. I personally think he didn't have anywhere to go. I think there's certain things with Aprilia that you have a major question mark of, right? Is that, yes, the bike is fast. Will it stay fast, as in keep going around the corner? Yes, they could have offered him 4 million and the money wasn't where he wanted to be when he looks at Pecco.
yeah. But
Fine.
the Aprilia is a better bike than the Yamaha, and it's better and it's good right now. It's had niggling problems. It's
okay.
had stupidity problems more than anything else. Like like the switch wasn't turned on in the garage, and
they've had a lot of fucking rookie team errors, right?
yeah,
And they
team
have,
errors.
right?
Yeah, it's not a reliability error; it's a team error, for God's sake.
Yeah. And then look, they have had reliability issues. They had there for me. There is a lot of questions about look, if you're wanting to go to Aprilia or and get a faster bike, yes, 100% Aprilia's would be the way to go. I just don't think, and this is why I think it was not just money related. Do you know what I mean? Aprilia have made a good thing. Were they going to make him the number one thing? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think.
You don't think they're going to make him number one?
Yeah.
Really? I can't see him not. I can't see him not going in there as number one.
But that's why maybe he didn't go in there. Rivola is very fucking weird. Like he is very, very weird. Like even though that the whole rest of the team call Alicia Spagro El Capitan, Maverick still gets the same gear. Probably actually gets the new stuff before him. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know. I just think there's more to it than money. I would be very disappointed if it came down to he chose to stay on Yamaha for money and not have the hunger to win.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
Joe, like I as a competitor, it's like that. It's like that one that like you can have 10 grand or a fucking hot chick for the night. It's one of those ultimate decisions. You're like, you want both.
So there's a lot of hot chicks out there.
yeah. But like you got to make a snap decision. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and for me, when I look at it, I just hope he's made the decision based on the right reasons. If it is what he's saying that Yamaha have restructured, now they have like what he said in the press release is factually correct, right? They have changed their internal management system. They have changed getting people from the outside in. They have put more money into it, and they are starting to use their testing program with our concessions. So yeah, look, it's not wrong, right? But like the bike needs to fucking turn into a mutant in the next 6 months, like and
we were talking about though. I don't understand that. Do they have a V4 in the back room somewhere? Because with the inline 4, it's not just a motorcycle situation. It's been around for 40 years where that thing's run out of. They run into the physics problem where they got too long and they have too much.
Yeah,
black,
look. I think they're okay with the inline 4 as far as they know what power they can get out of it, right?
Right.
The problem is not developing the V4 to make more horsepower, right? Because it's not a horsepower problem in the V4. The problem with the V4 is that they can only make X.
You mean inline 4,
right? The inline 4 is that they can only make X, and that's it, right? But the rest of the fundamentals of the bike are so far behind that it just they can't run high downforce because the inline 4 is not designed to have that aggressive. So
I they couldn't get the horsepower to push the inline. They could to push the downforce.
They can't. But that's my point. Is that they can't run it because the inline 4 the inline 4 will push it, right? But the problem then is that they change the characteristics of the inline 4 so that she comes out of the corner. Now all of a sudden she has so much horsepower, she's spinning. Do you know what I mean? And it's then she's thirsty. Do you know what I mean? So look, there's a whole fucking list of things.
And they were running, and then they were running out of problems. Then they were running problems with reliability on those things too. That's the problem. It gets too long though.
No. Well, Yamaha didn't come into problems last year. Surprisingly, I thought they would be taking an extra engine, and they didn't.
Yeah, because the year before that, I thought they had a problem, and then I thought, well, it's going to switch over to this year. It's going to be, or you know what I'm saying. The 1 year was bad, then I thought the next year is going to get worse.
Yeah, no, the year before was it was pretty bad, but it's like and that was realistically because they didn't get remember last year they were using the 2022 engine instead of the 2023 engine,
Yeah,
etc.
they were talking that
Or whichever year it was.
One engine.
Yeah. Look, for me, as I said, I'm quite happy to see Fabio there, as long as he's there for the right reasons. He's there to fucking actually win and not for the cash. Do you know what I mean? And that he's there for the right reason to drive the project on. You know, like for me, someone like Rins is very dangerous. Like, do you know what I mean? Because the fucker is hungry. Like, do you know what I mean? He needs to win, right? And that's what I want to see out of Fabio, is that I want to see Fabio as a Yamaha fan, and you know, the only way he's going to get back there is by being fucking super uber duper fucking hungry on it. Like, and
100, his back door is 110%.
Exactly, and it's just, like I am very fucking happy to see Fabio inside there spitting the dummy, fucking being cranky and being fucking this, you know, showing the team not in a disrespectful way, right? But showing the team that there's fucking passion there. It's like, fucking give me the bike. Do you know what I mean? And that's so. Look, as a competitor, I hope it's not for money. I hope it's that he actually genuinely believes in the project. As a fan, it's the same. I cannot fathom as a competitor selling myself saying, okay, actually, Joe, I'm going to wait 3 or 4 years. I'm going to take a big payday. Do you know what I mean? Because my psyche of this is like, I can go home with those fucking 3 world championships on my fucking mantelpiece. Do you know what I mean? And you can give me $10 million, but you can't give me those championships.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So that would be my mentality of it. But look, it's good. It's very good for Yamaha.
But wasn't it strange how he went from pissed off all this time? He's been pissed off, and all of a sudden he comes in one day, happy as a pig in shit, or seemingly. That's what bothers me there.
Well, no, like I will be honest, he wasn't pissed off. He didn't say anything really negative.
Frustrated. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, like he wasn't saying negative stuff in the press, which was okay. Do you know what I mean? So he kept saying that fucking stupid line, like, we need to work harder, we need to work, or whatever it is, you know. But I think you could see that there was the pressure. I think you could see that probably coming up to Portimao, and that he had a decision to make, and he made his decision in Portimao, and then it's just like as they said, he was
okay. Sorry.
They just said at Portimao, he seemed relieved, and you know, it seemed that he had something signed, whether it was to go to Aprilia or whether it was to stay at Yamaha, and no one really knew. But there was something that his future was secure. And then, like during the Portimao race weekend, people show like he did come out and say, "Oh well, look, yeah, I'll decide my future very soon and whatever." But that was all done I think, over in the Portimao weekend, if I'm very honest.
I just hope that Yamaha didn't blow smoke up his ass like they had done the years before. And he's going off a false pretense to go and get let down yet again. But that was dumb as that would be so stupid to do it again, because it's a
well, you see, this is where it comes out of it, right? Is that I don't think Yamaha could sell him any fucking pups down the line. Do you know what I mean? Like they're in a fucking terrible place. Like, you know, it's like you can promise a 10-page document, and I think they did that once, and they didn't get off page fucking 1, right? So, you know, I don't think he's going to fall for that again. Maybe he has seen some potential in the bike. I don't personally see potential in the bike, and like I know people were talking about the Qatar race and this, that, and the other. That race happened late on last year, right? So, if you look at it, right? If you look at it, in the space of a couple of months, Honda improved 25 seconds with Joan Mir and 5 seconds with Fabio in the sprint race. Do you know what I mean? And I know sprint race and race pace, but even on lap time, do you know what I mean? Like they didn't make a massive leap forward, and Honda have. Okay, they're still fucking far behind, but like if you took last year's Honda, right? If you took last year's Honda and put it on the Qatar track this year against the Ducatis and fucking whatever, you know, they would be even fucking further behind. So, look, for me, when I'm looking at it, I'm just trying to say, okay, has he gone in with the fire and the fire in the belly and saying, yes, we're going to fucking lift this team up now and we're going to fucking drive it on? This is the question I have. I haven't seen anything in the first 2 races to say that he's going to be doing this. So this is my worry of, did he do this just only money motivating it rather than get back to the top motivating it, you know?
No, but my hope is that Yamaha has always been had better engineers than Honda. I mean, go way back. It was just the Japanese. They were better. Whatever came out new was always Yamaha. Just face it. So I think that'll pull.
Yeah, well, look, Yamaha were tended to be more cutting edge, and Honda tended to be more old stock and different. But it is amazing that the different philosophy of building a bike and the whole lot of it and the mentality, and you know, I don't think we'll ever get that I don't think we'll ever get the Japanese manufacturers in fully European mentality, because the art and the way they go about the racing are very, very different. Now, the only way really is like if you bring the project into Europe, but that's definitely not going to happen for sure. But look, overall, I'm happy that Yamaha have an alien and they have someone that can at least keep the gap to a respectable 0.3 to 0.7 of a second, regardless of what happens. Do you know what I mean? If they go the wrong direction. But yeah, look, it's pretty good.
You can't go the wrong direction by now.
You fucking can. Look at Honda.
Well, they're just.
Yeah, you can go the wrong. You can still go on the wrong direction, 100%.
But I'm not on the same engine even longer than Honda. Same platform even longer than Honda.
Who have?
Yamaha.
Oh yeah, well the inline 4 has been there for years upon years upon years. So look at it. It is interesting. It is interesting, but it's the philosophy and how they approach to building the bike and all of this, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
I have a soft heart for gun. Well, it's always been there. It's curiosity. It's almost like the MV syndrome. Remember MV when they thought it was going to be? I thought they were going to be, 2 places, beyond dead last in World Superbike, and they were the 3rd best bike on the track.
Yeah.
With a 20-some-year-old engine, it was amazing. Maybe the best handling bike on top on the right day. Maybe they can pull that off again. I don't know, but
it's
tall order.
Huh?
It's a tall order. Let's put it that way.
It's a very tall order for what Fabio signed up to do. Kind of more then has come out about what is going to happen in the Liberty takeover. So while we were talking about it and we were saying, it's not going to happen, what we meant when we said it's not going to happen is that they're not going to get the keys to the house anytime soon. It's not that the announcement.
Yeah, we said 3 months? We put it at.
Yeah, it's not actually going to happen till the end of the season.
Right.
Is where it is now. And there's a lot of people, actually more people than I thought, were very against it, which kind of surprised me a lot.
All I've heard is positive.
No, there's been a good few people that are not so happy with it in the comments and in the last the last pad. And I know, look, I do get what they're saying, but so I have done some digging on this and listened to a few sessions and stuff. So I actually listened to the press conference that was on Monday, speaking about it. And old man Dorna or Carmelo Espeleta will be remaining as the CEO, right?
For 1 year, I think they said.
Listen, Carmelo is 78 years of age, and he's already for the past 2 years been publicly talking about retiring, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, they did say 1 year. Oh, by the way, on a financial page.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting things you don't hear anywhere else on financial shows. By the way.
No, that was said. It was said publicly in the press conference.
Oh, was it there? Okay.
Yeah. So, and look, like to be very realistic, right? that was already like they were not going to come in, take over the show, and boot him out, right? Not 100%. And I did mention this on last week's podcast, was that they're going to come in, he's going to be running the show, they're going to get an understanding of how things are working.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then put him out to pasture. You know, give him a non-exec chairman board, fucking whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then
years about right. I mean,
but yeah, but what they certainly don't want to do, all right. And you need to think of it like this, right? The 2027 regulations are not set in stone, right? They're not, right? And that's a big dirty fight that they don't really want to get into right now, because they don't have enough experience of how the lay of the land is. Let's just call it like that. So,
you know what he said on the financials thing? He says, and he talked specifically about people wanting changes, and he said some of the people have been around a long time. I'm doing him verbatim. We hear people complain, but they have to understand that we're F1 and we're going to do things the way we like, used to having success in. And but don't fret. We're going to try to do it exactly the way it's done now, with the rules that we want to have exactly the way they are now. So I would think they're going to skip. They might want to skip the next run.
No. So look. The negotiations for the 2027 regs are already in a final spec. Let's just call it, right. I'm actually waiting for the press release to come out for saying these are going to be the regs for next year. I think everything is decided. So I think we will find out what is what soon. But I suppose just to give people an understanding of what is going to happen. So Carmelo will stay on as the CEO for now, right? He's not going to stay. Like, I would be very surprised if he went into the 2026 season as CEO. Do you know what I mean? I think personally what's going to happen is Liberty are going to come in towards the end of this season. They're going to start putting their people into places within the Dorna organization. Like, everything for Dorna is staying in Milan and all of this. But I think they're going to be putting their people or their successors into place within it. And then they're going to learn and see and get an understanding of how things actually work, understand the politics within the sport. The politics in MotoGP to Formula One is probably the same. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, who is talking to who hates who don't. Do you know what I mean? Now, it is going to be a completely separate entity to Formula One, right? It's not going to be, like, for example, the CEO of Formula One, Domenicali, is not going to be taking over as the CEO of Dorna. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be two separate things, and they'd have to do this for sport and regulation reasons. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't have a major monopoly like that. Look, I think they will put their people into place, get everything going and understood, so people know what's actually happening. And then, like, start of 26, I think you'll see more of the Liberty takeover. It's going to be completely separate from Formula One. As I said, it will run as its own separate entity.
Right.
When they say that they don't want to change things, they don't want to be changing things in the regulations of this, right? And Liberty, and now the fact that this has happened, what you will now very quickly see is a divide between the commercial rights holders, which will be Liberty, the FIM, and IERTA. Do you know what I mean? Right now, they're all in bed together. Do you know what I mean? And they're all happy out and whatever. But what you will see is with Carmelo, when he steps away, is that there's going to be a lot of friction. There's no major dictators or buddyships going on now anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's all kind of like business. And, like, I have to say, with Liberty, they're all about promotion of the sport and this, that, and the other. Some people say woke. I'm not 100% convinced in it. You know what I mean? And I genuinely woke. Yeah. So they do. They like. They were doing some things at the start of races.
Yeah, the expression now is "go woke, go broke."
Yeah, but they're not going broke. Do you know what I mean? By going look, some of the stuff now. Look, for example, I told you this years ago. They got rid of the girls on the grid in
Right.
Formula One, and they brought in grid kids so that young kids get a chance to hold their whatever. And I get it; it's good. Do you know what I mean? Is that going to be one of the first things to go from MotoGP? Do you know what I
I just
mean?
heard no. I just heard it a moment ago. But no, they said they made a decision. The first decision they made was no, they're going to keep the girls.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah,
And
just by chance, I just.
but Jake, they can't even make the decision yet because they're not even a shareholder yet.
Yeah. When you say it, kind of, how the hell I thought that was kind of fast. I'm like, what? That's the
No,
first thing you're doing?
that's someone talking horse shit, right? Because they
Yeah,
haven't
like,
even sat down.
that's lightning, you know.
That's someone making up tales. It's probably one of your buddies there on those YouTube channels.
Yeah.
But anyway, but look, I think for expanding our sport into areas where people who could not necessarily get access or information or whatever about our sport, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
I think that a professional, sincerely professional money, like realistically, right? Liberty Media are not buying the commercial rights to have a fun little toy to go play with, right? They're here to drive new circuits, new revenue streams, put in the thing. Now, what was very interesting and what they were talking quite a lot about was that globally, for example, how the commercial TV rights are put out there, right? Their F1 stream and their and MotoGP are obviously out on two different things. So F1 at the moment in America is on ESPN.
Yeah.
And it's on TNT in the States.
And for free, by the way. And it's one of the few things that ESPN gives you for free.
For Formula One. Yeah. But then like I can see like in the UK and majority of Europe, one of the main broadcasters is Sky. You know, they broadcast F1 in your Sky package, but it's TNT in the States or in the UK for MotoGP.
Okay.
So I think
is that a pay package?
They're both pay packages. Yeah.
Okay. Both pay
package. Yeah. Now TNT is ridiculously expensive. It's like 30 quid a month or something like just for those channels.
Well, they kiss them first.
With tongue. But I suppose where I'm going with this is like, you know, I think in the next two or 3 years when those deals are up, I think that's where Liberty will kick in. And I think what will happen in that space then is that it'll either go ESPN or it'll go TNT in the States, and it'll go either Sky Sports or TNT in the UK, Ireland, etc. And I can see a little bit of combination within the TV rights and the TV deals that they're doing. So I think it'll be quite interesting how that access will go to people. I think the online version of it then I think will be quite good as well. Like Formula One online, yeah, they do charge. I don't think it's as much as MotoGP every month, but again, look, they can make good progress, I believe, in bringing the action. Like with Formula One, for example, you can ride along the whole race with your favorite driver. So, like from the start of the fucking race, you go on board on the cameras, multiple camera angles. Look, I think it would be good for people sitting at home watching the sport.
Yeah.
But they tend. Yeah, look, what thing has tended to happen though with F1 and them is that there's a bit of pushback, argy-bargy. We're the commercial rights holders. Well, we make the rules, and then they fucking meet in the middle. Do you know what I mean? So like, and it's kind of happened recently with the whole Andretti thing. You know, like that was a real public thing to say that the two groups don't necessarily get on.
Well, and when it push came to shove, didn't Andretti kind of fudge their information about what drivetrains you were using and things of that nature?
No. They were very open about it. But the excuse
they were going to use Cadillac, but a Cadillac ended up, then they were going to make their own engines, And then it
No,
wasn't they
no,
were making their own engines; they were just slapping a sticker on it.
no, but they weren't even doing that. They weren't even doing that. So it was kind of more so like Cadillac would be kind of like a brand sponsor. So they would be tending to be it. But that was all out in the open. Do you know what I mean? But they were actually making Renault engine. Renault were going to supply the engine to them. So nothing to. But it is one of the excuses that that the Formula One Association or Formula One management used was that because the FIA approved Andretti, and then the Formula One management who owned the commercial rights said no, right? And they were kind of saying, oh no, because allowing Andretti in would be better for the Andretti brand than for the Formula One brand. And if Cadillac was a true manufacturer, then that would be a different story. But realistically, all they were doing was getting a Renault engine and gearbox and putting it in the back of another car. So there's no real advantage to it because the other side of the coin, the teams are very, very money sensitive. And all of a sudden you have 10 teams and all of a sudden you have 11 team and then you have to divide your slice of the pie by one extra. So look, there was a lot of forward and back on it. I did read something very interesting during the week, actually, and it was 3 riders. Let me see if I can find it there now. 3 riders were asked about the new regulations and what do they think. Now, for me, when I look at this, and you'll start laughing. Where is it? There was 3 riders asked about the new regulations, should they come in and what do they think of it? And it was Marc Marquez, Jack Miller, and Maverick Vinales asked about the new regulations. And very interesting out of Marc Marquez. And he said, and I need to try and find the quote, but he said, if the new regulations come in, Joe, like the 850 or whatever, or stay with the current regulations that we have, Mark said, it depends if you want to have a MotoGP category for show or for the show or spectators, or a perfect bike performance. So he's like, if you take out some of the aerodynamics, take out some of the ride height devices, and all of these things, I believe it'll be better for the show. A perfect bike means you stay with more aerodynamics, which means lap times will be faster, but the people at home don't realize that you're going 1 second faster or slower in the TV. So this way, it would be less. So let's put it this way: I would like less aerodynamics and everything more manual for the show, right? Which you would expect from the thing,
right? From especially when he's the fastest rider out there. But anyhow,
right?
Yeah.
Jack Miller then is like, everything is going so fast now. Even with my fat arse on the bike, we're still able to do 360 kilometers in Qatar. We keep getting to this issue. The tracks are getting smaller and smaller because the speeds are getting higher and higher. 360 isn't actually ideal, but it's the pinnacle of motorcycle racing. They have been at 800cc before and ended up coming back up to 1000cc. But change is good. It allows manufacturers to start fresh. And I can think of a few who wouldn't mind a fresh start. I am not... Then it went to was it Maverick? Maverick said I would like for a fresh start. I'm not a technician. I never rode an 800 in the past. Said Maverick Vinales. Maybe if they can find more power, I don't know. But of course, if they take out the aero, you cannot push the same amount of power going around the corners. So probably for safety, maybe the bikes will have less top speed, but I don't know. if it's going to be more fun or for the rider, because it's always a difficult challenge.
Well, they can't just take
They
unless they
can.
go slower. Unless they go slower,
Yeah,
they
they
can't
can.
just take it off. No.
Well, they can. They can turn around and they can,
Unless they go slow. I mean, you have to take the thing and make it
slow. No. Listen, look, and I've said this multiple times before, right? You take off aero today, right? The only two bikes that will actually be able to go around the corners are
Simon
Yamaha and
Crafar was
Honda.
saying the same thing. He says, in fact, he was frustrated with some guy. He says, you just can't take the aero off. It's too dangerous. What he said is that you cannot take the aero completely off. And then nowhere in that statement did anyone say taking the aero off. Everyone said reducing the aero. So let's just be very, very clear on this.
this.
I'm trying to make it clear. You just can't drop it off. But the thing is, when you talk to the spectators, the ones that are adamant to say take it all off, and I try to tell people, no, you cannot take it all off.
But
you know what I mean?
But Jake, technically you can. If the bike is designed for no aero, technically you can. It will be slower. 100%. It will be slower.
You can. These people going. You get these people going. It'll be just as fast. Just drop it off. I said, if you know, it won't. You can't have the 300 horsepower and drop it off. You know what I mean? And they want
again,
too. You know what I mean?
90% of that horsepower, Jake, and we'll be very fair and honest, is managed by electronics.
Yeah, but
nothing to do with aero.
But you still have to have on there for. I'm saying for spectator, for people out there, you just can't drop it off.
And look, I'll be very clear in this. The bikes, except for the Japanese bikes, all the Euro bikes are designed on a piece of paper with aerodynamics in mind from day one, right? If you just go along with an old hacksaw and cut off the wings and try and run the same spec bike and try and do the same lap times, it won't work, right? So if they're going to go along and look, so I do agree with you. You cannot remove all aero and expect the same level of performance and the bikes to handle or achieve the same sort of speeds and lap times. 100%.
And it sells bikes, so you can't really. That's a huge factor right now. Let's not kid anybody. People are buying bikes because of the aero on it.
It is for some. It is for some. It's not for others, right? And it swings and roundabouts. Like, I have seen more comments, and I'll be very honest, about negative impacts of aero than positive impacts on the sales floor. I know, yeah. And look, I can only use the data that I see on this channel, right? Because I don't really have the sales figures for fucking hand up the road. To be honest, I don't really want to, because I don't want to go back in there. Anyway, what my point is like, yeah, I agree that if you took today's GP24, took the aero off, put on smooth fairings, would you get the same performance? You wouldn't. No, that's because aero is on there to help performance. Do you know what I mean? It's not on there to make the bike look pretty or ugly or whatever. Like these machines, there is not a gram of weight on that machine unless it has to be on that machine.
Right.
Simple fact. So they're not going to put something that causes drag on the straight.
Right.
Unless there's a positive to that, to saying, well, it goes around the corner faster because that's on the, do you know what I mean? And it's the balance. But I do find it interesting that they're all kind of like Mark Cobbett. They make sense. Mark wants a bike that's a handful. He wants a bike that he sorts out going into a corner. It's always very funny when I hear the Ayrton Senna one was just like, we'll drive it in and we'll sort it out and we'll drive it out. Do you know what I mean? And that was the way he drove his Formula One cars. Mark has a very same mentality. You look at the riders of this era now, like you look at Pecco, you look at even Martin, right? They're not very loose riders. They're not very throw it all over the place. Like they're the opposite to Pedro Acosta. They go in, they carry the speed and come out of it. And it's somewhat more controlled than Mark or even Pedro at this stage, right? It's
you know what, and Crash had it too. I don't mean to break in on you, but Crash Network had it. Well, now there are 2 podcasts, and there's another one out there that's pretty good with I have to say it later, but it's there was another 3 guys that you've known a million years, right? And they stood up and said, "Well, you're not. Aero isn't going to go anywhere. they're not going to get rid of it because of the sales and all that. And it's too much embedded. And they have too much things in too much expenditure on it already. But a moratorium would be a good thing. Leave it as what it is. Leave it. Say that's it. Leave it. Freeze it. There you go.
I don't.
At least for the an interim for
but I don't think so, Jake. And like Jake, like we're talking about the 2027 regulations here, right?
Well, you can always switch it more off.
But you see, why would you put it in, like, again, the kind of point that you're missing here in this is that when they decide the 2027 regulations is an 850cc bike, right?
Yeah, that's
first thing first, right? Forget about the engine. Not interested in talking about it. The aero that was on 1000cc is now completely defunct. Completely defunct. You do not have the horsepower or the ponies to push that aero. Right. So now you have to redesign your bike completely. And this is where Miller's going as a fresh start. You now have to redesign your bike completely to have that aero spec to be able to push that. And this is where forget about a moratorium won't work, because why? The bike is completely going to change, right? So what you need to do is you need to have an aero regulation within it. And the aero regulations do not have to be as complicated as Formula One. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can bring in very simple, unique. But the problem
I was speaking on the terms of having it with the 1000ccs and let it, like you said, leave everything off, at least for the interim. Have everything.
No one has talked about changing the current setup, right? Right. Because no one is going to change the current setup with a regulation change 2 years away, right? And let's be fair. Any team worth their salt, right? The minute those regulations are signed and sealed for the 2027 season, will be putting 90% of their development time into that bike, unless you're super far behind and you don't know. Do you know what I mean? So, like, realistically, what would the 26 Ducati GP26 look like? I would say very, very similar to the GP25. Do you know what I mean? Which the GP25 is designed in 2024, if that makes sense, right? So realistically, there'll be some work done on the 25 or on that, but majority once these regulations come out, aero will have to change.
Right? I'm sorry, I just see a nail in the coffin, not from the aerodynamics so much as this damn 850, because the last time it was horrible, and not on top of that, now they want to make it a 75 millimeter bore, which is troubles all the way around.
Look again, and that, like, there's so much shit going around at the moment. Like it really actually pissed me off about the amounts of Fabio, because, you know, one reported last year that he was on 6 million, but their article during the year was 4 million or 4.5 million, and I'm like, so you making fucking up numbers now? Do you know what I mean? So I'm very coy about, you know, when they're talking about real specific things, like the fact that it's going to go 850cc. No one has actually confirmed that.
Do you know what I mean? Expensive. I would think you'd want to go keep everything level just because of the
but again,
the world. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I haven't wasted time talking about it, right? Because no one actually knows, are we going 850cc?
Oh, that seems to be the one that's written in stone out there.
That has been one of the things, and every single person puts it out there. One of the possible changes is this. One of the possible changes is that. No one actually knows. There has been a discussion about it. Gigi has been pushing for it, but nothing at all is signed off. And as we know, old man Dorner, Carmelo Espeleta, if you want his full name, recently said that the teams gave them their ideas, and Dorna went back to them with their ideas, right?
I got a verbatim from Gigi's, because, you know, I was always curious about that. And he said, they're getting too fast. So by the time we hit not this not this change, but the next rule change. By the time we hit the next rule change in 2031, then they'll be too fast, and we might not be able. Then it'll be too much of a pain to, too much of
There's
a
a
problem.
there's a 5-year development cycle on every
It
set of
sounded like the
regulations.
biggest crock of crap that I've.
No, he'd be bang on there. So any set of regulations you would have is normally about a 5-year set of regulation or a 5-year development cycle of those regulations. And at that stage, what the technology and stuff like that comes in is what was said 5 years ago is way too fucking out of date now. Do you know what I mean? Because people.
That's what I'm saying. If it would be too far, if it's going to change, you would have to change it way before.
No, but what you can do then, and like these are this is the things within the sports is that you do make slight regulation updates and this, that, and the other, right? But you try to close off the loopholes, right? But what's happened then is that by 5 years' time, you've deviated so much what was the intended part of the regulations that you do it. And then what it also does is it also drives on development, right? So you're going to go, okay, this is what you were doing. This is where we're going to go now. And like if we look at it from years ago, like we were all running carburetors, right? And all of a sudden, then we switched to fuel injection. And do you know what I mean? Why someone fucking came up with a reason to do it, or why would we do it? And now look at every fucking bike. Like years ago, or even go even simpler than that. The bikes years ago were fucking. You twisted the grip, it rolled back to a cable that turned the carburetor opened and away off you went, right? Now it's all fly by wire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have great racing now. All those back then it was better racing. It wasn't. I mean, didn't have any big passes.
I've been very open with that, Jay. I don't see how much better the racing is in the last 20 years. I think there's now the gap is closer now.
Yeah.
And I will put it to you that way. But I would still 100% put down Rossi versus Lorenzo, Rossi versus Biaggi, Rossi versus do you know what I mean? As those races were fucking brilliant as well.
Before that, when you had Roberts versus Spencer, both of them were faster than Rossi and them, but they were the only two out there.
Yeah,
two, and then that was it. You know, the other one, you saw it once, and that was it. And then one left, the other, and that was gone.
Yeah, now we have a number of people that, and again, look, this. There's other avenues, and the reasons why this is like there's now a few pathways into MotoGP, whereas before,
you know what that came from? Yeah, such depth in riders now, right?
Yeah,
but you know what that came from? Kenny Roberts came in and they had flat tracking, right? There was a reason the Americans were winning. It was because they were flat tracking, because the numbers didn't make any sense. It wasn't even popular here at all. Nobody knew how motorcycle racing was here at all. But they're winning, killing everybody. So we're staying where it's popular. Then they caught on, and he said, then the Spanish picked it up first.
Yeah.
And then their schools for the Spanish, and then all of a sudden Spain did flat tracking, and guess who comes rolling around? Spain, right? And then Italy. Some of them, and they did some.
But it's not even that. It's like there's so many gateways now that.
That's what started it up. That's what got those European countries, the ones that took this flat tracking seriously and did it as a training.
But what I'm more so talking about here, Jake, was like John McPhee. Right, he never got past Moto 3, right? Mm-hmm. But I remember John McPhee when he was starting out in motorbike racing, is probably second or third year, sponsored by the Racing Steps Foundation, and all of a sudden all these doors were opening up for him to get into the Spanish or whatever. And there's now so many gateways into it, whereas before, it was very fucking hit and miss, and there's regulation now put around it, which I'm not really sure I agree with some of the regulation about the entries for the young lads, but
yeah, but not too good.
But again,
how young can they have to be? By the way, out of curiosity.
I think it's 18. I think they have to be 18 or 17 or 18 now to get into MotoGP. Now,
Oh,
okay,
MotoGP, yeah.
no, it's Moto 3. Moto 3. So to be on the world, yeah. I think it's 17 or 8. I can't remember the reg
How
on
young
it, but
can they be in those junior classes?
But see, that was the thing. You'd have 14-year-olds fucking getting on to the World Championship. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not, it's hard for me to grasp that. You know, this problem I had. I told you about the situation I ran into it one day.
Yeah. But look, like for me though, like if a young chap, like I always remember, and Lord rest him, I watched him in his car many times. But like a young chap, Craig Breen, really, really good rally driver, was killed, unfortunately. But like he was absolutely brilliant. But he was in the car on a go-kart morning, noon, and night. As soon as he came out of school, it was straight in there. And like these fellas, they're not 14 when they're getting on a bike, right? Like they have done more racing between 7 and 14.
Yes.
Then you've had fucking hot dinners in the rest of your life, right? So they're not like a young, stupid 14-year-old that has no clue what they're doing.
You know, the expression, they're in a pool hall. You know,
but they're like, okay,
dry, you know?
they are immature and all of this, and I get that, and you know, but look, anyway, look, I think the age is a little bit too high for them coming into the sport, but look, who am I to argue? But
it's too high.
I think it's too high being that you have to be 18 now. You can't come in on any younger, you know. 17 or 18.
I disagree on that because the kids aren't mature. As a kid, you don't think of life and death. You think of bang, I'm safe. You don't grasp death.
I would challenge. I would challenge that if you go and watch a 125cc race around one of the British circuits, you bang on fucking know that it's life or death.
You know,
do you know what I mean? 100%.
I had people shoot at me, you know, when I was a kid, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. You know,
but like these guys, as I mentioned, they're not going to school and going out riding once every 2 weeks on their bike on a race weekend. Like these guys are fucking. Every day is bikes racing. Like they would be very much so cooler than any single one of us if they got into trouble on a bike. Do you know what I mean? Where we'd shit ourselves, literally and probably physically. They would remain a lot more calmer or whatever, or in a battle with someone, they would be far more advanced. Yes, they have no fear. Yes, they're a little bit immature. Maybe 15, 16, but I think 18 is just a little bit too old, especially if you look at some other sports out there. But look, who am I to argue? Same with boxing. Like I know my friend is young fella is 12 years of age. Okay, he's wearing headgear. He's still getting fucking punched in the face.
Yes, you're kidding.
Do you know what I mean? So why not say? Sorry, you can't fight till you're 18. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
And I hit you. Guess what? You're out. You're just as knocked out as I hit you without it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And fucking anyway, right? So last thing then is that apparently there is something going on. There's no smoke without fire within MotoGP, as we know, and as we know, there's seems to be some friction between the main Ducati team and the Pramac Ducati team. And
is it a real friction or is it
I don't know. And you see,
they put up some of these bullshit sites screaming shit that you never know anymore.
Yeah. So there does appear to be something because realistically, the contract for Pramac on factory bikes is out at the end of this season. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but we also know that what's his name?
Martin?
Uzio from VR46 has been asking for factory spec bikes for VR46 to stay with them. So we do know there's a little bit of a power struggle thing going on, right? Now, Pramac have come out and said, well, look, we have an option for 2025 and 2026 on the Ducati factory bike. So, everything kind of points that we're going to take that. But
and as a quote, they said, and we'd have to be crazy not to. If what I read was correct.
So why hasn't it been announced?
Yeah, true.
So I was kind of like, yeah, done deal, dunk, right?
Right.
And then I was like, if this was such a formality and we're going to do it and this, that, and the other, why isn't it done? Now, it could possibly be done the next Grand Prix in Coda, but I just find it very weird that this story seems to not have gone away.
Also, the other story question. Also, didn't they say? And I want to kid if that's true. Didn't they already say Martin definitely will not be on Pramac?
Yeah. If he doesn't get
it, ties in with the other too. If he's definitely not going to be there, right?
Yeah. But he has a Ducati. He has no contract at the end of the season. That's the point there.
Yeah. Right.
His Ducati contract is out, right? And basically what Martin is saying is if I don't get the factory Honda or factory Ducati, I will look elsewhere, right? And this is where this whole musical chairs thing is getting really interesting. And this is why I feel it very interesting that Pramac have not come out and said, yeah, I'm going to be there for we're not going to sign for, or that they haven't come out and said that we've signed for another 2 seasons. So it is interesting as well because what hasn't also gone away is Marc Marquez. And he is, okay, obviously he's always a bone of contention to talk about, but it is getting very interesting now with the fact that I think it is genuinely within the realms of possibility that Mark could end up in KTM next season.
Okay.
With Pedro Acosta.
Cool. The force. And KTM, they're no slouches. They are an engineering force. It's not like they're jumping from one, you know what I mean?
So, but the victim out of that would be Binder.
Oof. Yeah.
Because Binder signed till 2026, 25 or 26.
Yeah, well, Christ, what the hell? They'd have to, they have to throw him on a
gas.
Yeah.
Or release.
That's a shit. Can you believe we have this much talent out there? I mean,
KTM have put themselves into another problem space. Let's just call it like that. Because
why don't they just give KTM 2 of the Ducati ones? The Ducati doesn't want it anyway. Doesn't it seem so much sense?
But why would they give them 6 bikes on the grid? Why, do you know what I mean? Yamaha
because they said at the 8 it's not giving them. There's not the 8 really doesn't help them out.
But that's the negotiation of the Hondas. Or sorry, that's the negotiation for Yamahas because if anyone needs more bikes on the grid, it's Yamaha, right? So I don't think they're going to give.
I'll give you that. Yes, that's true.
I don't think they're going to give KTM 6 bikes and leave Yamaha on 2. I think Yamaha are going to be. I think Yamaha are being aggressive, really, really, really aggressive. And I genuinely believe this. I believe Yamaha are chasing Tech 3, VR46, and possibly Pramac.
You think that what?
They're chasing them to see.
Pramac? Right? You think I'll change a Pramac?
Yeah.
3.
VR46.
In VR46.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I think one of them will crack. Now, Hervé has a really good life with gas at the moment, but he knows he's not going to keep on to Pedro Acosta next season, right? So he could get Jack back.
Right.
He could, right?
But are they going to leave two slots? When they're KTM themselves are already looking for slots, and they're going to sell 2 off.
But again, this all comes back to why haven't Pramac signed that deal with Ducati? Is there something else going on? right? If, for example, like why hasn't VR46 signed with Yamaha?
Maybe all the funding for Pramac's going into and the resources from Pramac is going into Grassini. Could be a viable.
I don't think they'd have the resources. I don't think Grassini would have the resources to do that. Like I would think.
No, it's a stretch, but
no, look, it's not off the table if I'm honest. But like I would think the branding and the thing, I don't see Mark on the Ducati in Grassini next season. I just don't. I think he's found his love of racing again. I don't think he's going to do it for free or near free compared to what he was on. And Red Bull is a massive factor as well. They will pay serious money.
I think he would love to be there with his brother in Grassini if Grassini got all the parts.
They're not going to get all the parts, though. They're not. That's like I couldn't see it happen.
You get my point?
I do. I get your point.
Likes everything tight, and I think he'd be happy as a pig in shit if he did that.
Yeah, but for that to happen alone, Grassini would have to sign Mark on a longish term contract, more than 1 year, right?
Yes,
and that's not going to happen.
I know.
So it's not. It's genuinely not. Like if he keeps going for short ones, it wouldn't be. I think the only point where they can, like, I don't think Grassini is completely off it, but I think it's definitely the third or fourth or fifth option that Ducati would have to sign. I think if they don't sort things out with Pramac, I think it could definitely go down the lines of VR46 get it, and then that would cause a major problem then for Pramac. KTM would definitely be knocking on their door. Maybe KTM could knock on their door to run something else. MV, could it be like? Could they, like for example?
Oh, they've been there. I've heard a bunch of whispers about MV coming in as a
yeah, but like
kind
MV,
of the name,
Yeah, and like that's kind of my point is like let's just say play devil's advocate here now for a second. VR46 take the factory Ducatis, right?
Okay, of Primax.
Yeah, the Pramac bikes, right? It leaves Pramac open, right? Pramac could run gas, which I reckon if they were to do it, they would probably brand change it to MV. Did you get me?
Yep.
And then Tech 3 will go back to Yamaha.
Okay.
It's a bit of a weird, like, look, these are all hypothetical things, but like,
right.
Like for me, the linchpin and basing it off of that is that the Pramac haven't come out and said, yeah, we've signed the deal. They've been making all the right noise, saying, yeah, we're going to sign it, we're going to do this, that, the other. There's obviously something holding it up.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We know VR46 and Uzio has said we want factory bikes next season, and yeah. So look, I think it's pretty interesting what's going to happen in that little circle. Kind of question mark that I really have leaving today's show.
BMW?
No.
No. What about BMW? Like
is who is going to go to Aprilia?
Yeah. Ania. God, it's a shame. The bike's good. It needs just a rider. It just needs a freaking rider.
But would Bastianini, being honest, bring it to the level that it needs? Like, would Bastianini bring it to the same level that it's on?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been better technically to have.
Okay, so I suppose where I'm going with this is like
Pecco. Quartararo would have been the real slot to
right.
go in.
Pecco is now off the market.
Right.
Okay. Quartararo is off the market. Okay. So what other aliens are there? Martin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'd fit.
Who else? I'm struggling. Like, you would have Bastianini but I don't know, is he there?
Right.
Marquez?
No.
No.
I can't see
But he is the only other alien that's out there. So, like, realistically, Aprilia have. I would even go dare to say two. It's Martin or Marquez. If you want your bike that you have to a very high level and standard, and you need an alien to get onto it, you only have two choices now.
No, well, no, you have Inaya.
He's not an alien, man. Come on. He's very fast. He is a Brad Binder. He's cusp.
Almost. Yes. He's on the cusp.
Yeah.
And he is the strangest rider that I've seen in a long time as far as he can save a tire. Sometimes he goes fast. Sometimes he goes lightning fast. His style is almost is unique or unreliable. Let's put it that way. Or you never know what's going to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But look,
it's one day he's crashing. He's like heaven or hell, one of the two. You don't know which one's coming. You know, even more so than Vinales.
We call it here in Ireland bipolar weather because he doesn't know what it's going to do itself. You know what I mean? It's just,
and that's really strange for somebody that has a tendency to.
But this is where we're going with an alien. Like, an alien comes out and he fucking 100% delivers all the time, every time up the front, and you see this with Binder as well. He's sometimes hit and miss. Eni Bastianini is definitely hit and miss. Maverick Vinales, Aleix Espargaro, they're all kind of those same kind of problems, let's just call it. Do you know what I mean? So my ponder for the rest of the week is who is going to go to Aprilia? And on that bombshell, we'll finish up today's show and leave people answer it in the comments below. Anyway, have a good one. Relax and enjoy the week.